Okay, in today's class, we will try to understand. In the previous class, already we tried to understand how to use the radio button. Okay, I told you that radio button will be used. It will allow the user to select a choice from different multiple choices. Okay, so radio button will be used in web page to select any one choice within the given choices. Okay, so in today's class, today we will try to understand how to use checkbox. Okay, so checkbox will be used in the previous session. We tried to understand how to use the reset button. Sorry, that is what your radio button. It will allow the user to select a choice from the multiple choices. Same in today in the class, we will try to understand how a checkbox input type checkbox. I told you that different input is an element, so that element has different types of inputs. So today checkbox. So checkbox, so it will allow the user to select zero or more options of a limited number of choices. So if many choices are there, from the choices he can select no any choice, otherwise more options. So let us try to do, this is the notepad. Let us try to write the code for this. Okay. So under the notepad, go into file, go into file. Okay, open new. So you will get the new. So within this new, if you want to increase your font size, so click, go for view, zoom, okay, click zoom in so that you can, so that the user can see, whomever attending the classes, they will be able to see the code in zoom in mode. Otherwise they wouldn't be able to see. So now this is the new page in notepad. So today we will try to understand how to write the checkbox code for checkbox, and after that somewhat code for radio buttons also. So first of all, as I told you that we need to declare the document type, exclamation mark, okay, doc type, then small html. It indicates that this is the html5 version. Next, root element of html, otherwise it is called start tag for html, start tag. Next, okay, start tag of that is what your body. Next, come down, okay, here close this with, close only, always we need to use forward slash, close forward html. Okay, next, just before this, close the close the body. I told you that. So body is closed, html start, this document declared html document declared with html5 version. This indicates html5, html root element, html element started with html start tag, body started with body element started with start tag, close body closed with end tag, html closed with end tag. So within this, whatever the code we will write within the body section, that will be read by your browser. Okay, and that the result will be shown in your web browser, any web browser. It may be Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, any web browser. So now let us write the code for, as I told you that first we need to start the form. Okay, because we are including all these features in the form. Okay, so form and then form closed, form closed. Now here we need to write the code. First, check boxes. So I told you that checkbox, it is part of input element. So you need to start with input. Okay. I told you that input is an element. It has different types of input. So next input, we need to declare that which type of input, whether it is text, otherwise it is radio button, checkbox. It is checkbox. Okay. Checkbox. So always this value to be must be kept in double quotation marks. Okay, understood that. Now, next word, input declared with type checkbox, then ID. ID is what? ID for what? ID is an attribute. I told you that type, ID, these are attributes. So we are assigning the values for the value for ID. ID is what? So different choices we need to give in the checkbox. So first vehicle one, it is a choice. Okay, vehicle one. Otherwise, whatever you want to give, okay, you want to select. Otherwise, you want to give like what your car. The car is what one choice ID for car. Next, now it is to be a value to be so a value to be given under the vehicle. Okay, this is the right one. Okay, under the vehicle one. Next, then after value. Value is equal to what? Suppose if you write here under the vehicle bike. Okay. Now what we did here, input element started, okay, and with the type, so checkbox, input type is checkbox, ID is the attribute assigned with a value vehicle one. So value is an attribute, it is assigned with the bike. Okay. Now we need to close this. Why do we need to close this? This is total is called input element. From here to end, this is called one element. From here, start, okay, this from here to end, this is an element. Okay. So your input element is declared. Okay. Now we need to create forward labels. Now label, okay, label forward for label for what? This vehicle one. Okay. So label for, so you need to write vehicle one. So vehicle one, there it is in capital letters, so capital. Okay. So now this is what vehicle one. Next, label for vehicle one. Now, so here you need to give a text. You need to give a text. Okay. Suppose if I write I have a bike. I have a bike. This is the text that will be shown in the label. Okay. Then close. What you need to close? You need to close this with what? You need to close with the label. You need to close the label. Okay. Close this label. Close this label. Okay. Now I told you that BR. BR for what? Empty element. Okay. Now one input declared. One input declared input checkbox. Okay. For this input checkbox, label created. Okay. Label for what? This vehicle one. Okay. Next, this text means this content will be shown on your checkbox. Okay. Let us see. So whether this code will be executed or not, first of all, let me check that. So after that, so we will do some work. Okay, now you save this code, save as, then we will give, I told you that you need to save this code in your folder. So wherever you want to write the code for your website, your website may have so many web pages. All that code for all the web pages, whether any videos, any pictures you are inserting in your web page, everything that is to be kept in your. So you keep the name as what? Checkbox. Checkbox. So save as hypertext markup language. Okay. Now go into your computer. Go into your computer. Open your file explorer, and within your folder, wherever your folder is, where within that folder, try to check back where is that in your documents, wherever the your folder you have kept. So try to search for that folder that is created for my website, that is called, I have kept the name as my web. So PC is so here try to understand where is that checkbox. This is checkbox. Okay, now open that. So whenever it is opened, so once the code is executed, so then we will give multi checkbox. I told you that checkbox will be used to give multiple choices. Okay, so I have a bike. So this is the checkbox. If you click here, that is to be checked. See here how it is looking. So it is looking like this, na? So now come to the code. If you want to see whatever the code, I told you the control U. If you type control U, you be able to see whatever the code you have written here. This is the code you have written, but you will not be able to change any code here. So you need to, this is your source code, this is your source code, but you can't change the code here. But if you want to change the code, you need to go for again your notepad. Okay, here you write the code again for other things, like what, you copy this, no need to write the, don't waste your time, you copy this code. Okay, copy and save. Understand? So that you can change the code, you can write the code for another. So checkbox, so many checkboxes will be there, no? So you can choose multiple checks, otherwise you can check either one or multiple checks. So here, so input type checkbox id vehicle 1, under this vehicle 1, so here see car. Okay, this is the car. Okay, under the vehicle 1, if you want to change this as, so vehicle 2. Okay, value car. So this is for label for vehicle 2, I have a car. So change this as I have a car. Okay, now this is what you have created. One more. Now come down, create checkbox for vehicle 3. So value here not car, you can keep one more vehicle, that is what lorry. Huh? So lorry, this is vehicle 3, so you change this as vehicle 3. Now I have a lorry. Okay. Now three checkboxes will be displayed in your form. So here, before this, if you want to keep any header for this, under the H1, header is what? Your H1. So you list of vehicles I have. Okay. This is then after close this one. So end with this H1. So your header section started, your header element started with, this is called header element. Header element started with start tag and end with end tag. So now if you want to keep any paragraph, you need to start with paragraph for P element to be started. Then if you want to write it, please, please choose anyone from the list. Okay, now close this paragraph element, paragraph element P. So now what we did here, we have created 3 checkboxes. Okay, so within this we need to choose anyone. Now you save this code, save as in your same, wherever in your my web folder. These are the code I have written for all that code I have kept in this my web. So save as it is, save forward. Now open your, that is what your, so here checkbox, click on checkbox. So how your, this, it is looking like this. Okay, so if you want to give styles and somewhat color, background color, I have shown in the previous classes. Okay, so now list of vehicles I have. Please choose any one from the list. So any one or multiple if you want to choose. Okay, this is like this. These are what somewhat check boxes. These are what input type. Okay, if you want to see whatever the code you have written, so if you want to see the source code, control U, so you will see the code whatever you have written for this checkboxes. This is the code for checkboxes. No, I told you that you will not be able to change the code. If you want to do anything here, you need to go for your notepad. This is your source code. So now within this, these are what checkboxes. So in the previous class, we have tried to understand how to write the code for label. That is what your radio buttons. So for the radio buttons, same thing. We will try to do the code to write for radio buttons. So here you copy this as same code, Control V. So up to these are checkboxes. Now this is for what your this is for your radio button. I told you the radio button. You need to change this as what? Simply you change this as uh, radio, radio button. Okay, this is the radio. Okay, radio for what? Radio button. Now in play, these are checkboxes. Now I want to use radio button. So same input type radio. So ID is what? ID for what? Here you want to use, suppose which language you prefer very well. So here this is HTML I have written. Okay, that value. So here value is for, okay, HTML. So this is as I told you that input element started and type is equal to radio. I told you the type, ID, value, these are attributes. So value, we are assigning the values to them. Type is an attribute assigned with radio. Okay, next ID, HTML, value, HTML. Okay, so then after, before this, use one, that is what, name attribute. Okay, name Name is an attribute assigned for preferred language. Preferred, preferred language. Preferred. Okay, only preferred language. Okay, understood that. So, how many values it has? So we will do one thing. Okay, you adjust these values, otherwise um, all are going outside of our visibility. So I want to see. Okay, now see. So input type radio ID HTML name preferred value HTML. So label for what? Label for, we need to change this as radio. Label for what? Label for radio. Here, any content you want to keep here. Label for, change this as label for HTML. Okay. Now here the content I want to keep here, that is what? HTML. Why? Because I want to see this as, I want to see the radio button as a choice, HTML as a choice. So now close the label. This is okay. So one radio button you have created. So now you copy this total code, and you paste here. Okay. Now input type radio. This is for ID, not HTML. Use some more languages, whatever. Suppose CSS. Okay. Cascading style sheets, and name under the preferred. This is what CSS capital. So there CSS will be displayed. So input element created with the type attribute radio. Okay, now created for label, you simply say here, this is what label for this ID. Label for this ID. You change this as CSS. Okay. Now come here, you change this CSS. Why? Because in the radio button, I want to see CSS. Okay. Preferred CSS. Now CSS. Now then after what happened? Now JavaScript. So what do you mean of this? So this is all these three languages, preferred languages from my side to for front end. Okay, all these HTML, CSS, and this is called your JavaScript. They are all what they preferred languages. If anybody wants to become a web developer, so he must be aware of these three languages. They are part of your front end. Okay. Now this is what JavaScript. You change this as JavaScript. Okay. Name preferred value. Here value, you keep the value like this. Okay. Understood that. So you adjust this so that you will be able to see. We need to close this with that is what. And so the value to be kept in double quotation mark. Don't forget to keep the double quotation marks. Okay. Otherwise you will get error. Otherwise you will get what? Error. Okay. Otherwise, huh? So now this is okay. Now this is for what? So you adjust all that value so that you can see them. Okay. Okay. This is okay. This is okay. Now label for you need to change this as what? Label for JavaScript. Okay, use small letters because we have now this label for JavaScript because ID you have created as JavaScript, so that this label is being created for this ID JavaScript. So this content text that will be displayed in front of your radio button label closed. Okay, now let us see what happened. So let us see what happened. You save this code. You save this code in your same web page, my web folder. Now go into your, that is what your where this is your folder my web. Under this checkbox, open that. So what happens? See what happened here. Here you please choose any one from the list. This is from any one from the checkbox. So here this is HTML, CSS, JavaScript. This is the radio button. You can choose any one. Okay. Otherwise multiple. Okay. So here I want to keep some like paragraph before this one. Okay. So let us, can I keep any paragraph here? So if you want to see the code, this is what your control U. So whenever you type, press control U, you will be able to see all the code you have written. That is what your um, code written uh, for the form. So the total code that is written inside of your form. Okay, understood that. This is the total code we have written inside of the form for checkbox and radio buttons. So now let us do somewhat, that is what here. So here I want to remove this gaps so that under this is form. I don't want to give any space here because now, okay. So this is the header that is written where inside of the form if I want to give any this is the first checkboxes. Checkbox. Now here if I want to give what happened here, this is what for your radio button. So